It's really magnificent. I'm bringing you the other side of the story tonight, which is going to show you how magnificent you are, because we were poor. I was going to wear shoes with a hole in it, just to show you how poor we were, before you got all this magnificence in the bay itself. However, it all started for me and for Save the Bay on a Sunday afternoon when I was getting set to watch the National Football League game. I had the potato chips and everything else. I was ready to go, and I got a phone call from a lawyer friend of mine, now deceased, Jim Holland in Tiverton, who said, there's a refinery that wants to go into Tiverton, and we're having an organizational meeting tonight, and we'd like you to come and help us to put it together. To get me away from a National Football League game in those days was really a feat, believe me. But I agreed to go. And as the group that met in Louise Derby's house sat around the table talking about what they were going to do, I knew that in the end they were waiting for me to say, okay, I'll help you coordinate that. But I didn't really want it. I was running 2 campaigns for candidates for office at the same time, plus a regular little couple of clients I had. And I just couldn't find the time to do it. But I went to the meeting just because he was a good friend of mine. As we got talking around the table, I said I knew they were going to make me an offer. And I said, I can't do it. I had too many things to do. I'm sorry. Good luck. And the guy put some money on the table. He said, that's your first week's pay. All you have to do is come and set up a press conference, and we'll get a few things done, and you can go on your merry way. I looked at that money. And I said, okay, I'll do it. And not till I picked the money up. Anyway, we got through the first week and everything was fine. And somehow or other, I got imbued and infected with the enthusiasm of that group who felt that they were there to save the world. If they'd lost that refinery fight, you really don't know what the consequences would have been, but they would have been dire. In fact, the people who had proposed the refinery at that time admitted when it was finally defeated that had they gotten permission to put a refinery there, and in those days the state had no power to really do very much about it from what we understood, they would have made a big mess. And they admitted they would have made a big mess. When that was finally defeated, I went back to my little business and I was doing okay. And I got a call from Dr. Minor, who comes from Jamestown, who said, we'd like you to come and talk to us about organizing a group we're calling Save the Bay. I said, what bay is that? Of course, I live on Mount Hope Bay, so this is Narragansett Bay, and somehow or other the boats don't meet. You know, people think of one and the other and whatever. Mount Hope Bay usually gets the short end of the stick, but whatever. Which reminds me, the gentleman from New Power that got a plaque tonight for getting cooling towers created. I convinced them one time when I was with Save the Bay that they needed a cooling pond to send sprays of hot water that they were filling into the air so it could cool off. And they did that. And what happened? When the sprays went up the air, blew all the damn lights out in all of Somerset and Fall River. So thank God they're going to have the towers, which I assume will be directed somewhere that won't blow out all the lights. I never got forgiven for that. But in any event, we got started with Save the Bay, and Dr. Minor and John Canula and Charlie McGowan sat in their little house. In any event, we got started, and they found a little office in East Greenwich. When you look at this palatial surroundings here, that little office in East Greenwich was one room about this size. We made a second room once later so we could house Trudy in there. And we had that $6,000 to get started. And they sent me out to buy used furniture. There was a guy, Carter or something, his name was, used to have a warehouse and you went and bought furniture. And I bought a couple of wooden desks I mean really wooden desk, and a chair for me. That chair was not balanced. When I slide back with that chair, boom, on the floor. So when you talk about hard knocks, I actually got them. That was the beginning. We sat there for a long time. And Dr. Minor called me up and said, I met a young lady at a cocktail party named Trudy Cox. I want you to interview her to be your assistant. I said, we got $6,000. He said, well, don't hire her that way. Let her do the newsletter or something and give her a couple of bucks. So I figured I better go see Trudy Cox. I went to see Trudy Cox, and at that time she was not a milking maid, what do you call it? A Quaker. She was a Quaker guide in Newport. She was sitting in the pew there when I went to see her, and I thought, what the hell am I going to do? Anyway, she agreed to come and get paid just to do the newsletter, but I didn't realize what a demanding young lady she was. All the women I had had in my life to that date were very subservient. And I found out that didn't rule the world very much before, so we got along all right. Trudy was very talented. She did a great job. While I was there, she did a better job after I left. In fact, I remember one time when we moved from there to Providence, and the ironic thing about that, moving to Providence was an apartment across the State House, or it was an apartment house, but we were right upstairs from the oil people. How do they call it? The Oil Association? Paul Hicks and the Oil Association. And we were upstairs. So there we were, mortal enemies, fighting for the parking lot and the speedway. And the kiss-off supreme was that it was owned by John, what's his name?
John Hawkins.
Hawkins, who was the majority leader in the House. So he milked us for everything he could get. We were often late with the rent. It turned out okay. I think he got indicted, didn't he? But we started to do some real serious work. And I put some notes down, but I can't see. So they're not going to be very much good. I don't like to wear glasses when I'm talking. They get in front of my eye teeth and I can't see what I'm doing. Anyway, this story is saying to me when I started off, and I made speeches so often during that period of time, that sometime I would stop in the middle of the speech and say, did I just say that story or was that last night? Because I was on television and radio, and the guy called me every day from WPRO to ask me what I thought about something that took place in Wisconsin, California, or whatever. And the Argo Merchant, do you remember that ship that cracked up off the coast? I said to Trudy, I want you to get an airplane and go up and see what that damage is all about. And Trudy did. She went up there. She called, this is Trudy Cox from the club of the Argo Merchant. And she told the story, and we got great glory out of that. But when I talk about the $6,000, you know, we used to talk about the fact that we had 21,000 members. 2 or 3 of whom paid dues. We used to get 21,000 members because Dr. Minor's philosophy was we had to have numbers if we were going to have any influence in the state. So all you had to do was sign an application to be a member, and by unanimous vote, you became a member of Sacred Bay. If you wanted to pay dues, we requested it, but a lot of you ignored that request. But we struggled through. The other thing I was thinking about when I read your pamphlet in the treasury, you had some money from this government, some money from that part of the government, some money from this company, some money from that company. My board of directors refused to take money from the government. They thought that was a compromise that would hurt us. so they didn't take any money from government. The health department called, want to give us some money, they rejected that too. We rejected a lot of money. The oil refinery that we defeated also offered us $25,000, but they rejected that too. So we made that $6,000 go a long way. When I wasn't falling on my head there, we did have a lot of things that we were achieving, and Trudy and I decided we'd better get out and speak to everybody about what Save the Bay is supposed to be about. And we did, and we not only capitalized on the oil refinery, but at that time, you see, the oil refinery, if it didn't go into Tiverton, could have gone into Warwick, could have gone to Cranston, could have gone anywhere in the state. And we lobbied hard to get the Coastal Resources Management Council. And they called me up one day, a guy named Goldman, Alan Goldman, his name was, wanted me to be on the Coastal Resources Management Council because Paul Hicks was already on there. And I said, I didn't want to do that. But how about Dr. Miner? So he said, what's he like? I said, he's very nice. He was kind of cantankerous, but he was very effective. Anyway, he got on the board of the Coastal Resource Management Council, and Trudy and I went one day to the statewide planning meeting in Providence, and we had this committee, this poor committee in our grasp there. We were pushing the statewide to make the #1 priority for the use of the bay and recreational use, and we were winning. The chairman called a halt, went to see the governor, went to see all his cohorts. Next thing you know, our new committee came in, and we didn't win that, but we made ourselves known. We had some strength there, and Coastal Resources after that respected us a lot more. They listened to what we had to say. We had Eddie Beard, we had Congressman St. Germain, we had a number of other guys that were in our camp. So we were doing pretty good with the politicians, but we still didn't have any money. And, I keep saying that because I come from Fall River, you know, and we don't have any money there. But I haven't made a hell of a lot of progress. Excuse me just a minute. I want to keep a timeline here so I can give you what I need to do. But I did get imbued, as I said, with the idea that people working together in unison and being strong about it could really get some things done. But you have to remember, in those days, the unions hated us. The corporate sponsors hated us. The people who were being, what they thought, threatened with their jobs didn't like us. A lot of the other communities didn't like us either because they figured somewhere along the line they're going to do us some damage. The fishermen were like this, they weren't sure if we were on their side or not on their side. I ended up being an honorary member of the Bay Bass Linesiders Club. I never went fishing in my life. I don't even eat fish. In fact, when I would go to speak for Save the Bay, they always had Narragansett Bay scallops or fish of some kind, and I had to lie and tell them I had an allergy to fish. I couldn't eat fish, I'll take up bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich. The Save the Bay story is a real American story. It's a great American story. It's a story of simple people joining together for a unique cause and mustering their manpower and whatever other resources they had so that they could take and get equal use of things that they thought were precious. And we grew that, and eventually we got $8,000. We kept going up the ladder a little bit until Trudy wanted a raise. No raise. I said, I'll tell you what you can do. You and Dawn Giles, she joined us. That was another melodrama. But she joined us, and she and Trudy were going to write this book on life, liberty, and the pursuit of energy. And they kept writing it, and I said, when do we print this? Well, we got more to do, we have more to do, and more to do, and they did more and more. And finally I said, it's going to print next week, with or without an ending. That's it. Next week it's going to print, and it was beautiful. We had a presentation at some private school over in East Providence. What was the name of it? whatever that private school is. And we presented that book and made a discourse on it, and gained a lot of notoriety for that. The first public meeting we had for an annual meeting was at the Providence Public Library. And one of the benefactors at that time was John Nicholas Brown. Every time we run out of money, I call John Nicholas Brown. And he'd call his broker, and they send us a couple of $1,000. And we went from there. So at the annual meeting, here comes 6'9" or whatever he was, John Nicholas Brown, down the center aisle, said, "John, we gave away little sapling trees that day. I didn't get a tree." He was the world's richest young man. So I gave him my tree. Because I didn't know what the hell to do with it anyway. I gave him my tree, and he was thrilled to death. So the next day, I said, "I want a couple of $1,000. And he did. I have a couple of friends in the audience, Edna Wilson. Yeah. Jenny Matheson worked there too. She couldn't come, but she sent me a letter. If I keep my glasses, I'll be like that. And Tom Hazelhurst, who was not only a stalwart member of the board, but when I had left Save the Bay and I was teaching communications at UMass Dartmouth, he was kind enough to open up his advertising agency to take my class in there and give them a day of review on what a first-class agency looked like. And they really appreciated that. And I appreciated Tom. But we had a great board. Those guys that did the founding of Save the Bay really were magnificent. They wouldn't let me take any money from anywhere, but they were magnificent. And as long as I was paying my own gas, they didn't care. We went from there. However, once I got Trudy in there, there was not too much rusting to take place. We did a film. I don't know whatever happened to that film. Do you still have it?
Yes.
Okay, they still have it.
John, do we have it?
And when we got that film done, we were so proud of it, we couldn't find any place to show it. So we had to hire a theater. And we did. And we went to a theater with it and had the people come by and get it. But we did achieve a number of things. We used to do a lot of little things, like we had runners who would take Dirty Bay from the Providence River and run it in a road race down to Newport and dump it in the water in Newport to illustrate that if it's dirty up there, it's eventually going to be dirty down here. We had guys sailing a boat in the Providence River, and they got sick. They really got sick. And we had to pull them out of there. So we used the sail to have people sign it. And we had a lot of people sign the sail, and we used that as another kind of promotional gimmick type of thing. And then we had a guy named Wayne Wunsch who came to work for us. It's too bad Wayne's not here. I haven't seen him since I left. But he said that he'd be glad to speak if we were tired. Well, Trudy never got tired, but I got tired. So I used to let him go speak for me. He'd give him a 15-minute briefing on what we were all about, and he'd go out and speak. I thought, this guy's a genius. He'd come back, he said, "I got a little check, too." All that time, when Trudy and I were speaking, we never charged anybody to speak. We figured, in their largesse, they would give us money. That didn't prove to be true. They just wanted to give us fish. But eventually we started charging, and I found that this is a good way to get out of having to make all these speeches. If I spoke, it was $150. If Trudy spoke, it was $100. If the board member spoke, it was $50. And if a lower board member wanted to speak, he could get $25. So I stopped speaking at that. I figured they'd all go and get the money, and I'd just sit there and count it. We struggled a lot, but we got Rome Point defeated. We got and in fact, Rome Point, the guy who was the head of the electric company at that time, said, I said something in the paper, which Sheldon got a little upset with. We had to have a meeting with the Journal. But he said, John Scanlon, nobody else is going to tell me how to run my company. And I answered him and said, John Scanlon and everybody else is going to tell you to get into the 20th century because we'll either do it in the boardroom or the courtroom. And he buckled. I'm glad to hear the news about the Providence sewage treatment plant because we never had much luck there. We worked at it, and I went to see Sagansky a number of times, and he lied all the time. Okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Never happened. Nothing happened. But we kept at it. And whatever. So, finally, I did like to pay tribute to the fact that while we were poor, the people were great. Will Gates is another one of the ones that actually paid dues and served as president of Save the Bay, and a number of other people, but none of you guys paid any dues. I have it coming, you have it coming. But in any event, we got through everything, and Charlie McGowan and John Canula and Dr. Miner, and all those other guys, most of whom are dead now. And as I said to Kurt, somebody, one of these talented young people you have here should be writing a history of St. Bay while there's 3 or 4 of us still alive that remember something about it. Because once we're gone, there's no books that carry the history here. So somebody should do that. And it's going to take a young, alert mind to get it done, I'm afraid. Louise Durfee's still alive too, and whatever, so she could help. Bill Reynolds, who's a sports writer in Journal, he believed that Save the Bay was just a bumper sticker. So we invited him one day to come with me to a speech in Newport. And I gave one of my more dynamic speeches that day. He went back and wrote a story which showed the fish coming out of his Narragansett Bay clutching the Save the Bay sticker. And he said that was the first time that he thought it was like, you know, Save Lacrosse or something. And that's the first time he knew there was really somebody who was behind Save the Bay. They were actually doing things. You know? It was amazing. But when I got my son to the stage where he'd go to college, that $6,000 wasn't going to do it. So I left to go work in my own business. And fortunately for me, he's very talented. I didn't need a hell of a lot of money. He got a lot of scholarships and things. He's a classical musician who ended up playing for the movies and whatever. And now he's teaching out there in the state of Washington, which cost me a fortune to go visit. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, besides John Nicholas Brown, we had Mrs. Wright in Jamestown who contributed good money to Save the Bay. That was probably Trudy's neighbor or something down there. And their son Todd Wright who kept up the thing. We had a few people who were very good and generous to us and kept us alive. And we had an office building in East Greenwich which was nothing fancy. And I say that with a little smile on my face because it was not anything fancy. And we had a couple of volunteer women who I think have gone to their reward that came every day to write out envelopes and beg for money and what have you. And we survived and got through. When Trudy took over, she got all the Philadelphia money. And that helped a lot. And when Kurt took over, all of you guys came in with a pile of money and doing very well. When I came through this building, and I thought about the humble beginnings of St. the Bay, and the holes in my shoe, and the chair that fell over, I think, wow, I could have relaxed a long, long time ago. I had great people working for me. We had a guy from Newport who was a captain in the Navy called Malin Scott. And Malin was a great guy, and he willing to do anything you asked him to do, except he was used to giving orders. And he'd say to somebody, get me this, and get me that, and get me this, and get me that. And they said, go to hell. He did, he went to New Hampshire instead. But in any event, we survived it. We've got a great beginning there because we did achieve a number of things, and we got something started. And now you're living in, I don't want to say the life of luxury, but you're living in the results of your hard work and great fundraising. And it's a pleasure for me to come. I haven't made a speech since I made the one at the swim, and it's probably just as well. I'm 81 now, and it's time for pasture. And, that's where I'm going tomorrow. It's called the Fall Country Club. Thank you very much.